What's going on, everybody? My name's Paul. Thank you for joining me here at All In today. So, it's Halloween. It's time for scary things, you know? Today I'm going to talk about something that was truly terrifying and something that's real. And it actually happened today. I mean, for me, October 10th. Happened to me a year ago. It happened to all of us here in Panama City and the surrounding area in Florida, Alabama, Georgia. It's something you might have heard about Hurricane Michael. I haven't really talked too much about my experience with the hurricane. Um, I guess in a way, it was something that I tried to push out of my mind, something that I really tried to make to where it wasn't that big of a deal. But it is. I mean, it really was. And honestly, I'm lucky to be alive. My family, my friends, we are lucky to be alive. And so it just feels like the right time a year later to kind of look back and reflect upon how lucky I am, how lucky we are, and how terrifying this truly is, and kind of putting things in perspective. It being Halloween, there's a lot of spooky things like, aliens and zombies and all that kind of stuff. But the true things, the real things that are honestly terrifying are things that are out of our control, like Mother Nature. There's nothing we can do. If she decides to destroy something, she's gonna do it, and it's real. It's not just a funny story. Even though when we see it on the news or we read about it in books or anything like that, or see movies about it, it seems like it's not real because it's so far away from us. Just like war or hunger, anything like that, it's so far removed from us. We're not scared of it because it's just something that's on TV. It's just something that's in a magazine. It's just something that is happening, but it's not here, so it might as well be fake. It might as well just be a movie or a show. Well, this was me finding out, me living through something that is not just a show because it happened. I was here. I had to worry about my friends. I had to worry about my family, my loved ones, myself. I had to worry about all these things, and it wasn't something that I could just, pause or stop reading or stop looking at. This is something that no matter what, I had to deal with one way or another. Either I was gonna make it, I wasn't, and that was that. You can't really pause or fast forward through something that's too scary in real life. You have to deal with it. You have to look at it and you have to come to terms with it. And that was something that I learned, kind of in a harsh way. A lot of us did. I know there in Florida we get so many storms. I mean, look at us. We're surrounded by water. We're the penis hanging off of the United States. We're gonna get storms. We're gonna get hit by a lot of stuff. And so eventually you live through so many of them that it's not really that big of a deal. Well, I've been through one, I can beat through the rest. And in my lifetime, well, actually everybody's lifetime here, we had never seen something this bad. You hear about this stuff happening in the Bahamas or, small islands, and you've seen it and you're like, well, that's on TV, that's not me. It sucks for them. I hate it. I'll send aid to them. I'll pay the $10 or whatever they ask at the checkout counter at a grocery store. Hey, do you want to help Haiti? We send money because we care, or some of us maybe act like we care, but it's so far away that it doesn't affect us. This is something that happened close to home, though, for a lot of people. It hit the United States. It's the most devastating hurricane. I guess that some people have argued whether Katrina was worse, but this was definitely the hardest hitting hurricane. It was a Category 5. It was at 161 miles an hour. The pressure was immense. It was something, and it kind of hit not out of nowhere, but it was unexpected how hard it was going to hit. A lot of things that were being asked was, or a lot of the time people were asking, well, why didn't everybody just evacuate? This is on them. They're stuck there because of their own idiocracy, which, a lot of us have said numerous times. We see this on TV, but living in the middle of it, I know we weren't in the evacuation zone. You know, this speaking for me personally, I was outside of a flood zone, and that was what everybody was worried about. Everybody was worried about Panama City Beach. That place was going to flood out. That's where everybody needs to evacuate from. You know, the inner city is fine, or at least, you know, just get out of the flood zones, get away from, you know, from the waters. Ends up that wasn't true. What they told us, it just wasn't right. You know, the meteorologists, they're not perfect. They don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's a best guess. You know, that really is all it is. Even at this point, after all the technology that we have, you still can't predict what Mother Nature is going to do. You really can't. When I went to sleep on October 9th, it was a hurricane. It was a level 3 hurricane, you know, category 3. My dad, my mom was trying to get me to come out there, but I was like, I'm not worried. I'm in a brick house, you know, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm outside of the flood zone. We've lived through category 3s before. This isn't a big deal. Everybody's making such a big deal out of it. And some people, a lot of us wasn't. Hurricane parties and everybody making jokes, you know, everybody on Facebook, you know, my rent's already paid. I'm not leaving this. I'll weather through. Because at worst, we're thinking, okay, the power is going to get knocked out for a couple days. A couple trees are going to fall down or whatever. We're going to be fine. Ends up we weren't. We really weren't. And it was kind of a shock to know, to find out just how bad this was going to be. So I went to sleep, you know, when I went to bed that night, I didn't even sleep in my bed. I slept on my couch in front of the TV, you know, with the weather on. And my mom and dad, like, they were like, if you're not going to drive out here, at least drive to a friend's, because I lived alone at that time. I was by myself, completely and utterly alone. There was nobody here. So, but me, I didn't want to impose on anybody, and this is my home. I didn't want to leave. All my amenities are here, you know. I want to weather this out. I want to make sure that if something bad happens or one of the windows happens to break, I can get things out of the way. I can seal it up. I'm still thinking materialistically, you know. I'm still thinking about things and not self-preservation. And that's a big problem that I have, but, you know, but also I wasn't thinking about others, to be honest. I wasn't thinking about my friends and family, because me being there could help them as well. You know, more hands on deck can help. And so that's something that I think was really gnawing at the back of my mind. Honestly, was gnawing at the back of my mind as I slept, and because I woke up early, even though normally I sleep right through a storm. A buddy of mine, the year before, I slept through a tornado that was supposed to be hitting a house, and a buddy of mine was trying to get me to evacuate with him because we lived together, and I just slept right through it. I was like, look, if it's gonna get me, it's gonna get me. You know, I sleep through these things all the time, and we were fine during that. Like, nothing really big happened. But something kind of woke me up around 6 o'clock in the morning and to turn on the weather. I saw that things were getting a little bit worse, and I was like, I have to go. Normally, like I said, I would sleep through this, or I'd just, you know, I'd pass it off. I'd go and play some video games until it's gone, until the power went out. But I didn't. And I really think it was because of my mom, my dad, and my friends who were, like, I had 2 friends, Justin and Christina, that was like, come to us. You know, at least let's all be together. Don't ride that out alone. Come to our house. Like, just come over here. And they were, you know, they were honestly bugging me and bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. And I'm glad they did. Because I end up leaving my house about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving, and it's already starting to get bad. It's super dark, and the wind is already picking up. The rain's picking up. I'm like, okay. As I'm leaving, I bring an ice chest with me, some, you know, some ice, some supplies, you know, like food and stuff like that. Before I leave, I make sure to take all my electronics and, you know, bring them up off the ground as much as I can. So I'm driving out there to my friends, and I'm just like, hey, you know, we're still just, it's like hanging out, honestly. I get in there, and, you know, my buddy Justin's family's there. And honestly, me, Justin, and Christina just go into their room and start watching the Great British Bake Off. You know, we're watching Netflix. We're putting something on to kind of take our minds off of what's going on outside, you know? And we sat there and watched it for hours and hours and hours, and just having a good time, not really worried. And then 12 o'clock hits. And then things really start getting bad, and we're like, oh, okay. this is something. Like, this isn't a joke anymore. We look outside, and it was so funny because a little bit before that, you know, the rain and the wind had started to pick up, and Justin goes outside to his shed, and the door kept flapping open. He kept going out in the storm, but it wasn't too bad at that point. It was bad enough he probably shouldn't have been out there, but you know, it wasn't quite the Category 5 hurricane we'd be seeing in just a moment. He goes out there and he's like trying to make sure that the shed is, he's like, I don't want anything flying out of my shed, you know, I got to make sure this shed's okay and stuff like that. And it's so funny because, you know, we go out there and we close it up and we're like, okay, it's good. You know, like, we're fine now. And I look outside and I have videos of it, and I have pictures of this tree that's right outside the window. And I'm like, we're fine. The fence is still here. The tree is still standing. Everything's good. The shed's still there. What are we worried about?
It's nice golden.
Turning it up enough just to get a bit more heat in there, just to sort of make sure it's cooked.
Then it keeps picking up and picking up and picking up. And honestly, my faith that everything is going to be okay starts wavering. The power goes out. Our cell phone service goes down. I can't check on my family anymore. I can't check on my friends. People can't check on me. They're not going to know if we're okay. And honestly, it's kind of hard to think about that when you're right in the middle. We're looking outside the window, and I can't see that tree. I can't see that shed. I can't see that fence because it's just white. And it sounds like there's a train all around us. I can't even see the rain because the rain is completely sideways. It's sideways so much that the water is starting to come in through the lighting where the wires and the holes are, you know, for the electricity. It's coming inside now. We walk outside of the bedroom and go into the living room, and you can see the walls bowing in at the doors. Like, the walls are literally bowing in and looks like they're about to explode forth. And that's scary. It's scary for me as a person, and I'm scared for my friends, and I know for Justin it was scared because he has all his family there. You know, he's worried about them. Is this place safe for them? We're looking outside, and it starts to, like, every time it clears up just a little bit, you can see more damage and more damage and more damage, and it's not slowing down. Fence coming down. If you look at the sky, it's completely white. Completely white. The wind is so hard.
Light pole are down.
Light pole just fell down. Look at the damage. Just look at what it looks like.
I mean, the power's out.
God. That tree that was standing up earlier is now down. That entire back fence is leaving. I mean, it's hard to see through the precipitation, I know.
Oh my God, is that tree leaning towards our house?
There it goes.
Did it fall?
No, I'm just saying. Like, back fence back there.
Hold on, let me get a little bit. I put it on my snap, but people know what's up.
I can't believe it didn't fall.
Second now. But now is the time though.
Oh, I don't do nothing.
Alright,
I mean, nothing.
I'll leave. Look at that. God dang.
I hope he's recording this as we're talking about it.
It's fucking nothing but white out there. Look at all that. Shit, boys. You can hear the wind rattling through the house. Like, look out there. It's just sheets and sheets of rain coming down. Hurricane Michael, baby. Look at that shit. I don't even know what to say. I'll check back in. So you're wondering, how bad is this gonna get? It seems like every time there's a window, like a clear window outside, every time I look, it's worse. The tree that was standing tall is slowly starting to lean and lean and lean. the fence that was built strong, I mean, it's a pretty new fence. It just starts coming to pieces, coming up. That shed that we were so worried about closing that door is just completely demolished at this point. Especially when that tree that was standing so strong, so tall, lands on it. There are trees all around us. That tree fell away from the house. What we found out, and from the crashing sound that we heard, that tree landed on our neighbor's house. What's to stop other trees from landing on us? What's to stop trees from landing on us and then the hurricane's in? Without walls, without windows, without a roof, there's nothing stopping the hurricane from getting to us. Our one shelter from being demolished, and then we're in it.
It's here.
Look how hard it's blowing.
Oh my goodness.
This part of the wall just fell down. The worst part about the hurricanes, the rain's bad, the wind's bad, but it's what's in the wind. What is the wind carrying? There's pictures of those posts that, the fence posting slam through walls. I mean, slam through concrete. So what is that going to do to a human being? Slam straight through cars. It's like just jam through there. What's that going to do to us? Without these walls, without this roof, there's nothing protecting us from this wind. 161 mile an hour winds ripping through you. There's nothing you can do about that. Later, we found out that there were people who had to deal with that. Their houses demolished, had to go out in this storm to find shelter. I heard horror stories of a woman and her kids who they were in an apartment complex. One part of the apartment complex got destroyed, the others didn't. And they were running across in this hurricane to beat on doors, people begging to be let into these other people's apartments. But what do you do? What do you do if you're in that apartment and somebody's beating on your door? You open that door, you might never get it closed. Then you have more people to worry about. You don't know those people that you're letting in. Do you open that door? Do you let them in? I honestly don't know. Fortunately, we didn't get in that situation. So as the storm progresses, it gets worse and worse and worse. We all go to the living room and we're like, well, this is it. Whatever happens, happens, but at least we're all together. And luckily, eventually, the eye of the hurricane hits. It's cool for a second. It's calm for a second. But the problem with that is, it's going to be back. You're in the center of it. You're in the eye. It's not over. But you do get a moment of respite. We go out and we check and we see the damage that is done. And we know that we're only halfway through this hurricane at this point. The amount of damage that was done in the first half, everything, the house held up, I'll say. Everything else didn't. Everything else was down. Can the house hold up to the last half? It's already been weakened. Especially the houses around us, the pieces that have already started to fall away. Are those houses gonna stand up? Look at all that. It's pretty bad. I mean, it could be a lot worse though. But right now we're right in the eye of the storm, so we're halfway through it at least. We just wanted to come out and take a look and see, how bad it actually is. Look at this. Look at the trees bending. Look at all this damage. Look at the house right here. And if they don't, what's to stop the wind from blowing those chunks into us and destroying us? We still have a whole half of a hurricane to go. And it's lasting so long because this hurricane is so wide. And it's not like it's something that moves very fast. So we go outside and we're checking. And honestly, I know at least in my mind, I'm thinking, what's the best option here? Do we stay or do we go? unfortunately for us, I mean, or fortunately, I guess it's according to how you want to look at it. Our mind, we didn't have a choice, because as you'll see in later pictures, we were complete, like the way the trees were brought down, there was no way out. We were here. And in my mind, I was like, did I make the right choice? Did I make the right choice coming here? Is this place going to make it? Would I have been safer at my house? I can't go back now. I've made my choice. And that's the scariest part, is always wondering, did I make the right choice? So the rest of the storm comes. It's as bad as the first part. And it's just like another train's here. Here comes the train back. We had our moment of respite. Now we just have to pretty much pray that everything holds up. It's kind of hard to think about. And I know it sounds silly, but like, just even as I sit here and talk about this, it takes me back, and I see the faces around me, and we're all scared. I mean, we're shaking. We're terrified of this storm that is going on around us. We're wondering, will we ever see our families again? Will we ever see our friends again? What's going to happen to us? What happens? Like, what's going to happen if we make it through this storm? That's pretty much for hours. Imagine thinking that for hours. Not getting any respite, because nobody can really just sing a happy tune at this point, because you're too scared. You're trying to pick each other up. You're trying to say, hey, these walls are strong. Don't worry. This is all going to be okay. I know for Justin, he has family there. There are children there. I have to imagine that he's worrying, is this the best place for these kids? Did I make the right call? But like I said, at this point, it's too late. So all you can do is try your best to find a safe spot, and make sure that if something does arise, if a window breaks, or a wall falls, where can we go? What kind of plan can we have to make sure that everybody makes it out of this? Luckily, we had a bubble around us. We didn't have any trees hit. Even our vehicles. I saw pieces of concrete from the wall that separates houses falling, and luckily didn't hit our cars. Trees that were falling completely missed our cars. Like, we really did. Somebody was on our side that day. I honestly believe that somebody was on our side that day. The hurricane's over. We made it. We made it all the way through this hurricane. Everything stood. We look outside. Our vehicles are mostly fine. New dings, new dents. They didn't come out 100% scratch free, but they were there. They're not crushed. It's better than what happened for some. We look out back and we can just see the destruction. The shed that we were so worried about before. Just closing the door on that shed. The shed now lays in ruin. Tree on top of it. The tree that's on top of it is also on the neighbor's house across the way. All the fences are destroyed. You look out back and it looks like a bomb went off. The way that it's just cleared out. And the way that these trees look, they're bending over, they're broken. Some trees, even the ones that are still left standing, are snapped in half like twigs. Like something I've never seen before. You look down the road, the way out. It's flooded. There's no way you're driving through this. You look down there and you see nothing but trees, power lines. Are they live power lines? There's water. There's electricity. Am I safe being out here? Are people about to go out here and try to get out, and then are they going to get electrocuted? So then you still have to worry about the flooding. You still have to worry about these trees that are barely holding on. These trees that are held together by splinters. There's nothing stopping them from coming down. You push a branch out of the way. That was the only thing holding this tree up. Boom. It's crushed you. And there's nobody that can get to you and help you. There's no ambulance that can fly, that can just drive through this mess. It's trees down everywhere. There's no getting in and out. There's no helicopter that can just magically come in, or if it does, it's going to be too late. There's nothing that you can do. So at this point, it's still the day of the hurricane. It's starting to get dark. we realized, well, tonight we're here. There's nothing we can do.
Like, I'm gonna yell.
On that thing. I don't know what ours looks like, but it's.
Watch out right there.
No, that's not.
But we don't know. Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be anything going
That's
to
not
it.
active. It wasn't active before any of this.
Should we go ahead and cut the power switches?
No, there's no point.
Look at all of this.
I mean, like, we are all one big backyard.
Yeah.
Open floor plan. There's what's left of the shed.
Yeah.
All the stuff that was in it. There's like the tree that was just ripped out of the ground.
I
Down
don't
there.
even see the side. Be careful with the power line.
Ugh. So, nighttime rolls around. We're inside. We all decide to sleep in the living room together. I mean, nobody really wanted to be alone at that point. Not to mention it's super hot. You're in Florida. It's really hot. Even in October, we really don't get a lot of winter or fall weather. Especially when there's no air conditioning, no fans, nothing. It's just, and all the wind seemed to be gone. The hurricane, which brought so much rain, so much wind, so much everything, is now gone, and it's just, everything is just dead. Just, nature is completely silent. All you can hear in the background all night long, because we had to keep the door open for praying for a little bit of wind to keep us cool. We had the windows open, we had the door open, only the screen door closed. We're all sleeping in the living room, and all you hear all night long is car alarms and emergency services and helicopters that are constantly overhead looking for bodies, looking for injured people, that are trying to help. But for the most part, that they're not. It's nighttime. There's only so much they can do. If you're hurt too bad or pinned under too much stuff, you can't really call out. They're too high up. There's nothing you can do. You have no cell phone. You have no landline. You're stuck. And I remember laying on that couch and thinking that all night long. These guys are looking for people that they might never find. Or by the time they find them, it's going to be way too late. But the other thing that honestly was scaring all of us, I think, I know me and Justin were worried about it, is this door is unlocked. People have just went through a traumatic event. What's to stop them from looting? People are realizing, hey, I'm not getting out of here. I didn't stock enough water. I didn't stock enough food. I didn't stock enough gas. Other people has that stuff. I have a family that I have to fend for. I'm going to get this stuff one way or another. And I know every time I fell asleep, that is what I dreamed. Somebody coming in through that door and taking stuff by force. Me and Justin would wake up at the same time and then we couldn't go back to sleep because we couldn't get over that. This is a new fear, not just Mother Nature now, but people, humans. What are they willing to do to survive? What are you willing to do to survive? What are you willing to do to keep your family safe, your friends safe? What are you truly willing to do? When you're in that kind of situation, it's damn near anything. You'll do whatever it takes to survive. So, we make it through the night unscathed. Unfortunately, nothing has changed the next day. We're still blocked in, still flooded, still have trees laid down everywhere, power lines laid down everywhere. How are we going to get these cars out to get out of here? Because the battery operated radios, the radios that are in your car, are really the only thing that's working at this point, the only way that you know what's going on. And you start to hear, Panama City is going to be shutting off. The road's in, the road's out. It's going to be closed down. The only people getting in is emergency services, and and nobody's getting out. Like, that's pretty much it. The roads are going to have to be cleared for emergency services. If you don't get out by today, you are going to be stuck here. This is where you're going to be. I know, speaking for us, that isn't something that we really wanted to happen. I didn't want to go to sleep every night knowing that I'm going to be worrying about looters and there's no power, there's no water. Like, how long can we truly last? There's a lot of us in the house. How long can we truly make it? You know? How long are we going to be okay? Because at that point, you don't know what everybody else is going to do. You don't know, are people going to help each other or hurt each other? There's just no way to know in that situation. That's the thing about humans, is you never know how they're going to react. It's unfortunate. I like to think that mostly people are good. People are going to do what they can to help, but you just never know. So, next day's bright. Justin and I strike out. We have to find a way out. We're going everywhere. We're going down these roads. We're going down our road. We hear chainsaws off in the distance, but far away from us. People are trying to cut their own way out. Everywhere we go, it's not like you just move one limb. It's whole trees across the road that you're not going to move. We don't have a chainsaw to move it. And even if we did, is one person going to sit here and chainsaw through all of this to get out? There's no way. Even if we chop it up, these are huge trees that we have to make our way through. I can't pull this out on my own. And everybody's kind of, having to worry about themselves. Waking up first thing in the morning, just checking out the damage. Juice over here gonna move a whole tree. It came from the end of the street because I'm looking, this is our only way out right here. As you can see, there's a power line down and there's trees blocking every which way. There's nowhere to go. Got a whole sign. The sign was down.
I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen to the stop sign. I hope it's still here by the time,
Yeah, take it. It's my stop sign now. Oh Lord. Park. Was the park. As you can see, a lot of stuff torn down.
Still don't have any signal?
No signal. Bunch of trees down. Power lines just down everywhere. Damn. Helicopters are just constantly surveying, constantly going overhead. Last night it was even worse. So this is just more trees down. We're trying to make it to the road, trying to get to the highway. Look at all this. It's crazy, man. And we've had to get through so many down trees just to get to this point. Alright, let's go more. Yeah, we should have brought my backpack. Having to go through trees. Oh God. Oh, you gotta get low for this one. Alright. We did try to get some people to help, but it's understandable that some people were worried about their own. Some people weren't worried about getting out, so that didn't appeal to them. So it ends up just kind of being me and Justin trying to find a way out. Luckily, some places did get cleared because there's good people that when this kind of stuff happens, they get in their truck, they load up their chainsaws, and they're like, we're gonna have to be the ones clearing these roads because emergency services, they're swamped. They're gonna worry about the high-end places first. These other residential places, we have to figure our own way out. We can't wait for the government to get us out because it's gonna take a long time. We know the government. We know what's happened. We saw Katrina. We know what happens. The community themselves have to band together and find our own way out. And that's exactly what happened. I'm so proud of the community for what they did. Sure, like I said, there were some that just kind of weren't willing to help, but it's understandable. But there were so many others that was making sure that people had a way out. And it was such a beautiful thing to see. So that's when we realize other people are willing to do this, so we also have to do this. We have to help. We can't just sit here and let other people do this. We also have to help ourselves. Luckily, growing up in the South, we used to go mud riding all the time. I had an idea. There was this one patch of mud that you're not driving through. You're not getting through that mud. Not in my truck and not in his car. Nobody's getting through that patch of mud. And that's really the only way out, is that huge patch of mud that our vehicles aren't going to make it through. So, a background of mud riding, I realized, the best thing to do if you get stuck is a plank of wood. Or at least that's what always helped us, if you don't have somebody else to pull you out. But a plank of wood, you're going to use that, you're going to wedge it up under your tire, and that's going to give your tire some traction. So what the hurricane destroyed also made our way out. We were able to take boards from the broken down fences and make our way out of here, slowly drive across boards and planks that we put down all across this mud that honestly wasn't going to hold up forever. But we lucked up, and it was just enough to get our 3 or 4 vehicles out. And you kind of go slowly. One person has to get out. The other one, you're having to lift up these cables. And honestly, the thing about cables is, I don't know if you realize this, but without the rubber, you can really slice the shit out of your fingers. So you have to, that's just another thing to be careful about. You have to be careful that you're not running over something that's going to pop your tires, and you're not having to, if you run over these cables and it gets up underneath you, you're screwed there. So that's another part where the community kind of came in, and we're lifting stuff for each other, and we're finding ways out, and we made it. We made it across that mud hole. We're snaking through, and we find our way out. Justin and Christina had somewhere for me to stay. I found a way to get us out, and this is where Christina really comes in, is she had family that, lived away from here that we found out that we could go stay with. And so that was our goal. Make our way to there. Here's the problem. Everything along to that end it's nothing but obstacles on the way there. And can we make it out in time to where these roads don't get closed off? Can we make it out in time before the traffic and stuff like that hits? So that is just one thing after another, honestly. And it was kind of exhilarating. I'm not gonna lie. It was scary, but at the same time, it was some of the most alive I've ever felt. Doing stuff to help others and to help myself, and solving problems felt great. It really did, and it sounds like such a messed up thing, but it kind of shows you how resolute the human spirit is. What kind of resolve you have as a person. And that it's just something that only those type of situations can truly show you. You'll never know until you really get put in that type of situation. And honestly, it just helps all your bonds. You appreciate your friends more. You appreciate your family more, because during all this, I know that Justin and Christina are okay. But that's it. Nobody knows I'm okay. I don't know about my parents. I don't know about my sibling. I don't know about my friends. I don't know about anybody else but me. And they don't know about me. I know if they're still alive, they are so worried about me, and I'm afraid of what they're going to do, because they're going to do whatever they can to get to me. And these roadways aren't safe. Getting into Panama is a bad idea, but I know that they're going to do it. And so I have to make sure, for one thing, they're okay. I have to talk to them to make sure that they're okay. And for two, I have to tell them, don't come here. You have to not come here. This is somewhere you have to stay away from. Right now, this is the worst possible place to be. And so we make our way out, and I just remember driving out there. So as we're leaving, we're going to stop by my house first. I need to know. It's curiosity. It's where I live. Is this place okay? Is the place where I live, has it been destroyed? You know, this is also, did I make the right choice coming here to Justin's? Did I make the, or should I have stayed home? Is my home completely okay? So we're driving, we're making our way there, and all of a sudden I get stopped because a cable from the power lines gets stuck up underneath my truck. No way for me to, and Justin and Christina are driving separate. There's no way for me to call them, tell them to stop. So I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the middle of the highway now. Luckily, there was a guy, he actually worked for Xfinity. Luckily, he came up to me and he was doing everything he could to get that wedge. It was wedged up under my springs. He was doing everything he could to get that the cord out from under my springs, because it's a long, it's a cable. And so that's the best thing Xfinity's ever done for me, honestly. So, but he was smart enough. He's like, well, you can make it to where you're going. Just put it in the back of your truck bed. So that was another thing to worry about. Is this, the wire that is now right here scraping against my inner tire, is that going to, pop my tire? Is it totally going to mess it up? And that's just more stress on more stress. So after that, Justin and Christina, they find out what happened. They stop. They see that I'm not behind them. They come back. And I throw it in the back of the truck. We make it to my house. And my house looks to be completely destroyed. Like, it really did. There was a tree that fell across my parking garage, my carport, and just huge oak laid across my house. I don't really know how to describe it. I was destroyed. Like, I was so sad because this is the place that I live. So there's a tree across my carport and across my house. There is a tree that has fallen in my front yard and completely blocked the door. I have a carport door. I have a front door. Both of those are blocked in. So I go around back. There's a tree that had fell back there, and it had blocked my sliding glass door, and there would have been no way for me to get out. None. Because I had to move the stuff out of the way as much as I could just to kind of get the door open enough to get in, but I would not have been able to do that inside the house. So if I hadn't left, not only did that tree fall across where I was sleeping, that's actually where the couch was that I was sleeping. So that tree fell right there where I was. But also, I wouldn't have been able to leave the house. And my truck would have been destroyed because the tree fell across it. So my truck would have been destroyed. I would have been blocked inside the house. There'd have been no way for me to get out. And keep in mind, Justin and Christina, they may have, but honestly, what they were going to do is they had the grill and they were going to wait it out. It was kind of a selfish thing on my end that got us out of there, because I had to check on stuff. So they may have still been at their house, and just kind of waiting it out until they got cut out, because they would have been fine. They had a grill, they had food, they would have been fine. And so without them coming to look for me, I don't know, and my parents and stuff not able to get to me, it would have been a while. I know that my buddy Chad, you've seen him on the channel, he would have eventually made his way, because he was one of the people that, got in his truck, got a chainsaw, and started clearing things out of the way. He's somebody who, he's going to make a way. And so I know once he hadn't heard from me long enough, or if he would have drove by here and saw my truck underneath that, he would have got me out. But honestly, I saved some water and I had some food, but I really was not prepared for this storm, to be honest with you. I honestly wasn't. And being trapped inside this house, it wouldn't have been good. It would have been bad being trapped inside this house. I got the door open enough. And luckily I had, when I left, I actually can't remember if I brought my turtles with me to Justin and Christina's, or if I left them in their tank, because they have plenty of food and stuff. And honestly, you got to remember, in my mind, I thought it wasn't going to be that bad. So I can't remember if I left them here or if I picked them up. But either way, the turtles are now with me. I have them in a bowl. And we stop by, make sure that, Christina's parents are okay. And then we make our way to out of Panama, worrying the whole time that do we have enough gas to get it out? Unfortunately for us, none of us really got gas like we should have. We should have filled up, is what we should have done, but none of us did. And we had hours to go, and everywhere around here, there's no gas station. So that is another big thing, is do we have enough gas to make it where we're going when everything around here has been destroyed? There's no gas station for miles, miles and miles and miles. No working gas stations. Can we make it? Luckily we did. And honestly, that's why I am so appreciative for Justin and Christina, and I'm so appreciative for her brother and his family, because they didn't have to let me come and stay with them. They posted us up for weeks, honestly. I think it was probably about 2 weeks or more that I had never met them before in my life, and they just let me stay there. And that meant so much to me, because they already had family staying there. Christina and her family was already staying there. They already had a house full, and they still found room for me. And it was a trying time because I was away from my family. I did hear from them, and they were okay. And they were so worried about me, and I was so worried about them. But the thing that sucked about my family is they live out in the middle of nowhere, so nobody's going to be helping them. So I knew it was going to be forever before they got power and water and everything back. So during this time, it was probably the most upset I've ever been. It was probably the most depressed and sad I've ever been, and just so helpless that I've ever felt. And there were days that I could not eat, I could not sleep, and it kept getting worse and worse, because my job was destroyed, my house is destroyed, my family, like, how am I going to get to my family? It was just my friends, like, it was just so much on me. And I admit that I just kept thinking me, instead of being thankful for making it out myself, friends that made it out, these people that opened their doors to me, my family that did make it out. And we always seem to go to the bad. We always seem to keep the bad in mind. And I admit that. I just saw the worst of what was happening. And if it wasn't for them and, my friends constantly trying to keep me in a positive mood, even though they were going through the same bad shit I was, I don't know what would have happened. I don't want to think what would happen, if you want me to be honest. They made sure that I ate. They made sure that, I did what I needed to do to sleep. It really restored all faith in humanity. You hear that, but this is a time where you really feel it. And so that's kind of it. After that, we come back, we stay our time there, and then we make our way back eventually. And I come back to a destroyed home. The tree had been removed. I come back and I can't stay there because the ceiling was crushed in. And so I had to go out and live at my parents' for a while. And it was months before I made my way back to this house. People who, follow this channel, they know how it was. I was trying to stream out of my parents' house. It wasn't really happening. But I was spinning. I was kind of just spinning in the void for a long time. And that was scary. Not knowing how my job was going to go, my house was going to go. The rug just really got pulled out from under me. And now, like, looking back, like, that's not important. My friends being okay, my family being okay, because a lot of people weren't. There were people that died. There were people that completely lost their home. There were people that was maimed for life, lost much greater than I did. And so it really does put it all in perspective. And I really want to say, this is the scariest time of my life. And also, in some ways, the best time of my life. time was starting to slip away from me because I'm always working, I'm always busy, that I never make time for my friends and family. But they make time for me. And they made time for me. They put me first before anything else. And so I hope that going through this catastrophic event, going through this horror, made me a better person. I like to think that, for the most part, I reach out better than what I did before this. And I can only hope to keep growing. It's been a year. Honestly, if you look around here, there's still so much that's destroyed. A year later, I mean, we have power, we have water, and a lot of businesses are back up and running. I have my house. My house was finally fixed. My carport was just put on last week. Literally, it's been a year. My carport's just been put on last week. And so it's slowly making its way. I'm back at work. And I'm just so thankful for the experience, for the people who looked out for me, for the strangers, the friends, the family, all the love that got poured in, all the well wishes you guys gave me, and all the people who stuck with me through this, you know, with my channels and stuff like that. So this is just something I wanted to share with you. I kept putting it off. I had all these videos, all these pictures, and I just kept putting everything off. And I finally found the strength to make this video. You know, I don't know if this is going to mean anything to you guys. It's just something that I kind of felt like I had to get out. Sorry if I rambled on for a long time, or, you know, I know the video is a little bit longer than what I had actually anticipated. I kind of just wanted to go over stuff real quickly, but the more I think about it, the more, I guess, I realize how scary it was and how thankful I am. And I just can't thank everyone enough. But yeah, so that's it. That's everything. Of course, I'm going to put all the videos and the pictures in here. And, you know, I don't make documentaries, so sorry if, you know, where I'm putting in the videos and the pictures doesn't really make sense, or if everything doesn't flow very well. And sorry, you know, if it just seemed like I was rambling for a lot of the time, but I just really wanted to kind of talk about my experience that happened a year ago, and you know, what a profound impact it made on me. So yeah, guys, that's the end. You know, Halloween's going. I hope everybody's having a good spooky time. I hope that you know, you're finding all the frights you can look for. I know I'm having a great time with you know, spending time with you guys, my friends and family, and hopefully, well, I know that this year is going to be a lot better than the last. I have a home. My friends and family, their homes are okay. I'm okay. So I'm really looking forward to the Halloween season this year and beyond. So yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you again for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed this look into my experience through Michael, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. House, guys. Believe it or not, inside's perfect though. I'm actually gonna leave. I'd show it, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave. See you guys later. This is my backyard now. Days after. My house. Sorry, it's not very steady.